Yeah.
Talk about something that I carried all the time we were hiking 36 miles or whatever it was out in Montana, that I had a medical kit in my bag, and the only time I ever used it was to give you and Dad Tums for your stomachs.
When you talk about, you're talking like hardcore Western hunting. Like, I got this medical kit, like in case stuff hits the fan.
I did, dude. We were rifle hunting. I had like chest seals just in case you had like a sucking chest wound. I had all kinds of stuff.
What did
My
we
belly
use?
hurts.
Can I have the
Here's
Tums?
some Tums.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I was not aware.
It plagues me everywhere I go. All right, welcome to episode number 3 of the Venari Effect podcast, and we have a very special guest today,
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Bush Apple,
Oh.
the Blapple. Look at that, blast from the past.
It even has the vintage little dent in the can. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't have more.
They don't even make those anymore, right?
No,
the peach. They've
it's
moved
coming
on.
back. It's coming
Yeah.
back. I know it is. It's all just it's a marketing thing.
They sold
Yeah.
too much of it. They got to build the hype.
The hype, the anticipation's there.
Because when they were saying we're getting rid of it, they were flying off the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
not
the
coming back.
peach did not do what the apple did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, peach pie isn't America's pie. Apple pie is.
Sure.
So it only makes sense.
It's a good point.
Yep.
We don't really have a topic today. We're just going to kind of talk about some of our upcoming plans for the off season, some fun stuff we have coming up here, and just get into some current events related to hunting maybe. So something exciting on the horizon is the annual bunny hunt taking place right here.
I really wish that we as a group had more time to get together to do that more often, and that we had more rabbits around, but there's just too many coyotes.
Well, that and we get so caught up in deer, turkey, like your two primary
Sure.
colors of hunting, that we don't make a lot of time for small game and the fun stuff that you get to get together and
Yeah.
More target-rich hunting, target-rich
Yeah.
environments.
Yeah.
Rabbits and squirrels.
Maybe that's why it's more fun though, because we only do it like once. It's kind of
Could be.
like a big deal now, the annual hunt. And it was
Could be.
this year 4?
Oh, it's
think
been a
it
while.
yeah.
4 or 5 maybe?
Yeah, and when you might get to let one arrow fly all fall, and then you go out and
Bang, bang, bang.
you're gonna get to shoot.
Oh yeah.
Which
Last year I
is
think
sweet.
everybody got at least one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this year we planned it so that we will be able to squirrel hunt too. Last year I think we did it too late where we could only rabbit hunt. But
yeah.
we'll be going after both species.
Yep.
So
Mixed bag.
yeah. Which I shot that
The Gammo?
the Gammo adult
Yeah.
air rifle. I didn't sight it in. I just shot it at some crows because I looked it up. I didn't realize crow season is in currently. So shot it at some crows out back. Did not hit them. So, gotta figure that out. But
Funny story behind that, because we both have the same air rifle. We've wanted air rifle. I at least have wanted an air rifle for a long time. Never pulled the trigger to get one. Finally got my hands on one for Christmas and took it out of the package. You have to mount the scope. And I was just like, we'll see how accurate it is. So I have a 50-gallon drum that we use to burn trash in and stuff. And I shot from the back deck of our house. It's probably 40 or 50 yards out there. And I heard the definitive ping from hitting the can and thought, it's got to be pretty close. Next thing you know, up scurries a squirrel right in our backyard off the deck and at like 20 yards up a tree. First shot, right in the head.
It's like the adult version of a Red Rider.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we all grew up with Red Riders shooting at whatever we could.
If we had those things in place of our Red Riders when we were like 10 years old, man, the entire woods would have to look out.
yeah, that's awesome.
I might take that with me. Focus just on the squirrels when we go. On our big hunt.
You if you don't want to sight yours in because it's 0 degrees outside, you can take mine because it's dead nuts.
That's awesome. What else? Any exciting stuff happening in the hunting world? Anything from ATA? You don't even have to go to ATA anymore to see all the products. It's
Well, we're
all
just
over
talking
YouTube.
the painted arrow fluid head for
Yeah.
guys in the filming space. That looks like a pretty sweet product. I'm excited
I haven't
about
seen
that
that yet. I'll have to see a picture of it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
compact, right?
very compact. I think, I'm at least running the old muddy arm and the giant fluid head.
The
and
10-pounder.
I'm sick of it. So, yeah, to have some options that are a little more lightweight, a little more packable. That's exciting.
That's a lot more doable today too, because the cameras that people use to film are so much smaller than what you used to have access to. They've just like everything else, they shrink that technology down to a smaller package. You can get just as good a quality as you used to be able to get out of a 20-pound camcorder.
Yeah, and you can pair the new fluid head with the phone mount.
Oh, the magnetic phone mount.
So they have the magnetic thing for your phone, and then it goes on your bow stabilizer or whatever. Now you can pair that with the fluid head. So if you don't have your camera, or for whatever reason you don't want to have your big camera out, you can just throw your phone on there and film that way too.
That's cool.
Trying to find it here. It's sick. I thought they came out with something else that was really cool. Oh, it was the trail camera strap for the tree with this magnet on it, and then you just put the other side of that magnet to your camera and just pop it right onto the tree. I think that was what it was.
Interesting.
But
I didn't see that.
yeah.
Those magnets are strong, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
My phone case has a crack in the back of it. It's been through the ringer, and I had the magnet on here, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to get that off. So if I got to get a new phone case, I'm going to have to buy another magnet.
I've been wondering how it would stick to an OtterBox.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuck to mine perfectly fine. It's just like a gel-coated plastic.
Okay.
Perfect.
Gotcha. Yeah.
One thing about filming on your phone is like storage and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like, you have an encounter, you like hit record and like you don't want to move and it's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
One of the first times I bow hunted this season was early October, and I took my camera gear and everything else, just went behind the house. But I used to have one of those stabilizer mounts that screwed everything on. And I thought, man, like in that situation where basically there's a wall of timber behind me and my only shots are going to be right out in front, something like a phone mount on a stabilizer would be perfect for solo filming, because they're probably going to be relatively close. In today's phones, they're all 4K, so you still have the ability to zoom in a little bit. Autofocus is just fine. The sound isn't awesome, but it would be okay. So that technology is going to come back, I think, because it's going to make it accessible for a lot of people to do. You're not going to have cameras like we have.
Yeah.
And you'll also get a lot of buy-in from people that weren't wanting or willing to dive in with the full setup with a real nice camera and stuff. Like now, I mean, this is available to people that don't want to do all that, but maybe not even necessarily want to get a YouTuber producing videos, but just want to have stuff on film for their own use.
I also wondered if, because like this thing, it'll stick to a laptop. It'll magnetize to a lot of different things. I wondered if you could get like one of those Gorilla Pods and put it on like one of those super small camcorders that people used to film home videos with, and put the magnet on the Gorilla Pod and then put that camera on there so that you could zoom in and out if you had a deer far away. I don't know. There's also options. Those magnets are like $3 or $4. You could put them on multiple things. You could magnetize a GoPro to your stabilizer and get different quality that way. You could put a 360 camera there. There's all kinds of cool stuff you could do.
It is pretty handy videoing on your phone and throwing, just editing it right there too. Like all the trapping stuff. I mean, it's not anything high quality, but I've just been doing everything on the phone. It just makes it really time effective and quick, easy, simple. But
yeah, my issues would be storage for sure, though.
Yep.
I can't even download apps at this point because I have too many photos and videos on my phone.
Yeah.
Speaking of apps, I heard on a podcast today they asked each other if you could only keep 3 apps on your phone, what would it be? And mine instantly went to like Onyx.
Your cell cam.
yeah. Bushnell is like
the weather app,
not like Messenger or
weather underground, so you can see when a cold front's coming through.
Yeah. The weather, honestly, yeah. If you're like actually thinking about things, definitely it was some sort of weather app. Although they're wrong half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. So, I was trying to think. There was one other thing from ATA.
Trophy Line had a new set of sticks that were cool. They short sticks that compacted real tight.
I saw those too.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw Annihilator Broadheads won best new broadhead or whatever. They came out with like a single bevel, but it has like, they didn't call them like bleeder blades, I don't think, but kind of
like little
there was
bleeders.
Like 2 on each side, so like 4 total. It looked kind of sweet. But
I was gonna say along those lines, Magnus came out with a single bevel that looks almost like what'd they call that? The Masai, maybe. One of those big single bevel, like real heavy duty ones.
They named it after an African tribe.
Maybe
that's what Maasai is. It's an African. They're like a super big hunting culture. They like spear hunt lions and stuff.
Yeah, except this is like probably in your $30-$40 range for a pack.
Oh, that's pretty
and
good.
And they look sweet.
A pack of 3.
Yeah, but they're 150 grain, which, I mean,
I've been thinking about that a lot because I for the last decade have been a Wacom guy all the way because I've just had such good luck with it.
Yep.
And I have not really taken the time to mess with my arrow setup to see if I should change anything about it. I just go FMJ, the standard insert, and 100 grain fixed broadhead, and it does fine for whitetails, but like I wonder if there could be something way better.
yeah, I'm not a big FOC. Like, I don't buy in entirely to it, but I did do a 75 grain half outsert, whatever you want to call it, with a 100 grain head. So I have 175 grains up front.
Where your standard insert in FMJ is like 15 grains or 20 grains or something like that.
It's pretty light. And I like that half out. But something I heard recently is that Wacom might be on its way out.
Yeah, I'd heard that too. That's why I was like, do I go and buy every single one of them off the shelf?
I thought of that too, because you like the 3 blades,
yeah,
and I like the 4 blades, and they've done really well. But I also like the idea of a single bevel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, that 150 grain looks
I know
pretty sweet.
It is kind of sucks when you get pushed into making a change because the industry has changed. Like a certain technology that you had used for a decade is going to go out of business, and so now you've got to make a change and start the whole process all over again.
Yeah, I don't know for sure that they're going out of business or not. Like, that was just kind of hearsay or whatever, but it is tough because, these big, I don't know if you want to call them conglomerates or whatever, buy out these small companies, and Wacom was kind of one of those companies that got bought out and then was owned by
Faraday, right?
Faraday, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're doing away with them or not, but that's been a good head for
I have 3 left.
2 of us.
I have 3 left.
Yeah. It is exciting though when you get something new, Get to try something new.
I love
see how it
experimenting.
performs. Yeah.
I just never have enough time for it.
Yeah, that's true. I know it'd be so fun to just build your arrows completely, and
arrows, those are one thing that you have to do so much experimentation because every bow setup is different, because even though maybe the 3 of us have the same platform, my draw length's different, our draw weights are different, the style of release that we shoot is different, and all of that stuff can affect the way an arrow flies downrange.
Yeah, that, and we don't have a setup at home to do all this experimenting. So when we want to make a change, we go to a shop, and it takes a few hours or whatever. It's not like you can just tinker and I didn't like that next thing. Like you're not going to go back and spend another 2 hours the next day at the shop.
Yep. Shout out to Josh though.
Yeah,
best bow guy around. We ran into him actually not long ago.
We did.
I think he killed a
elk, right? He's out elk hunting?
I think, and an antelope, a huge antelope actually.
Yep. Yeah, good antelope.
Yeah.
Decent whitetail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know. I was already thinking about taking another, next year, having to take another Western trip. I was looking at my PTO today and just like, okay, where can I allocate these? What do you have to pull back during turkey season?
We're allowed to carry 40 hours over at work, so I carried a whole extra week over into next year because you never know when you're going to use it.
Never sell it back. You gotta keep
we don't have that option. You either use it all the year you have it, or you carry it over. Yeah. So
I'm working with 18 days.
Nice.
This year. That's not nice because I was working with 18 days going into this past year, and it was not quite enough.
It's never enough. It could be 180 days. And it wouldn't be enough.
Struggling to keep those. Yeah. I wanted to carry something over though.
Well, when you got to take family vacation too, and keep the significant other happy and all that stuff, it cuts into it. But you got to do those things.
I said no Florida this year. No Florida. Can't give you 5 days.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much to kill on the beaches of Florida.
No,
just run into a hog every once in a while.
Yeah, kill your skin cells.
I actually saw today, speaking of that, a kid, I forget who shared, if it was Steve or Nella, a kid was like javelina hunting and almost bled to death. Did you see that?
Yes.
Like mauled him. I think he got
was 13 years old.
Artery or this vein right here.
Yeah,
really.
It said he was bow hunting javelina, and I don't know exactly what transpired. He was by himself, and this javelina gored him.
Mm-hmm. Those are pretty small things too.
I don't know. Was it
huge.
after he shot it?
I think so. And get this, the kid had the frame of mind to take his belt off and put a tourniquet on his upper arm. 13 years old. That's impressive. Talk about preparing your children for life.
Daddy did right.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. But the kid lived, and they went on a podcast and talked about it.
I carry a tourniquet everywhere I go. I've got one in my car, one in my wife's car. I've got one in my range bag for when I shoot handguns. I keep one in my hunting bag.
I got 4 for Christmas.
Yeah.
Of the tactical ones, because I was going to put one in my Western pack, or at least just my hunting pack in general, because I'm like, dude, you've heard stories of people with broadheads going up through their legs and basically almost bleeding out. I'd
Or
rather
even,
have
you
it.
could trip over a log and land on a stick, and
You could fall and break your leg, and the bone inside your own
Yeah.
body could sever your femoral.
Well,
you know?
there was a guy out west a few years back that his arrow fell out of his quiver and he didn't know it, and it landed in some brush upright, broadhead up, and he stepped down and it went all the way through his thigh, straight through his thigh, and he almost bled out right there. Luckily, they found a old four-wheeler like logging path, and they were able to go out ahead and cut with a chainsaw and get him out. But basically, almost bled out.
Crazy.
That's nuts, dude. Yeah.
Talk about something that I carried all the time we were hiking 36 miles or whatever it was out in Montana, that I had a medical kit in my bag, and the only time I ever used it was to give you and Dad Tums for your stomachs.
When you talk about, you're talking like hardcore Western hunting. Like, I got this medical kit, like in case stuff hits the fan.
I did, dude. We were rifle hunting. I had like chest seals just in case you had like a sucking chest wound. I had all kinds of stuff.
What did we
belly
use?
hurts.
Can I have the
Here's
Tums?
some Tums.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I was
Yeah.
not aware.
It plagues me everywhere I go, no matter what I do.
I debated for a long time too, because it's in one of those. I don't have a whole lot of bag options. I bought a medical kit that came in like a little tactical square bag, and then I just packed it with whatever I wanted. And I debated like, I probably only need Band-Aids, but you never know. So like I had real wound dressings, and I had like scissors and tweezers and all kinds of stuff.
Jake is so disappointed.
It was like a pound and a half.
Tums.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not bleeding out?
Yeah, he like has the tourniquet in his other hand and the Tums. He's
Which
like,
one do you need?
What is it? What's it gonna be?
Oh, jeez, that's funny. That's funny. But I mean, yeah, that's better to be prepared, right? We've heard the horror stories, that's for sure.
That was one of those things that made sense for me. Like, as we try to build our stuff for Western hunt. I mean, really, a tourniquet's not specific to Western hunting, but just in general, like start to build our packs and stuff, and have stuff to be prepared for the unexpected. That was one of those things
with
that made
kids
sense.
too, we always have to have Band-Aids. We go to the park and someone skins their knee or something, and so I haven't made this move yet, but there's a company that makes it's like a holster for all that equipment that goes around your ankle, so you can keep like your like wound shears and your tourniquet and your Band-Aids all wrapped around your ankle.
I'm picturing like Eli like falling on the concrete at the park, and Jake's got like a tourniquet around his leg.
I rip open my pant leg and peel out this entire medical kit. It's like a full IFAC.
Saving Private Ryan, where they're like dumping like the gunpowder in his wound.
a little splinter, and he's at the park, and he like rips down to his holster, and all the moms are screaming because they think he's getting out a gun. He's like,
It's just Band-Aids.
Yeah, it's just tweezers. Like,
Anybody need Neosporin?
Oh, jeez, that's funny. Oh man, what else? There was something else I was gonna say in that realm. Oh, it was the mountain. It was the mountain ops, it messed with my stomach. What was it?
Meals, the
Yeah.
freeze-dried meals.
Yeah, which
Peak
one
refuel?
was it? Was it? Oh yeah, peak refuel. Which
I don't
one
know.
was it? I had one that just did not agree with.
You had the homestyle chicken and rice one day, and you thought that was okay. And then you had the Alfredo. Didn't you have the Alfredo? Did you have the pesto
Yeah.
pasta too?
I don't remember one of them.
the spaghetti and marinara, or the marinara, I did not like. That was day one.
Yeah,
that we
I
ate
had that
down
one
that
too. and
crevice.
I would not recommend that one. It doesn't taste like you think it would taste.
The 3-bean chili mac or whatever that was, by far my favorite.
that spot we ate the first day might have been the best spot down in that little out of
Yeah.
the wind. That little
Yep.
So
crevasse.
I have a friend from church who is in the military, active duty. He's done tons of tours overseas. He's probably been in for almost 2 decades. And I asked him the other day, like, MREs, what do you think? And he's like, bro, I will never eat chili mac again. Because that's like the best MRE flavor. And he's like, you just eat it till it's going out of style. And pretty soon you're like, someone's got some sort of broccoli chicken pasta, and I've got this 3-bean chili mac, and it's like, chili mac doesn't sound good, and that doesn't sound good either. Let's mix them together, and we'll share our meal. And he's like, I can't even look at chili mac the same, because it just tastes like that every time I eat it.
I had mine out the other night. I was like going through my gear room because it's a disaster right now, and I should probably think about cleaning it up. And I opened that tote looking for my journal because I was going to write in my journal last night. And I got the meals out. And I'm like, when will the next time I open one of these be? Because I was like, do they go? I mean, they probably have 10-year shelf life or something
something like
crazy.
that.
So I'm like, they'll probably be good. Because
They'll
I was
be
thinking
just
about just
fine.
ripping one open and just making dinner. for
Dude,
the
there are
wife and I.
some guys that found I forget who it was that I was talking to. It might have been from some military podcast. And back in like World War I and World War II, they didn't have MREs. They had what was called sea rations. And it was like canned food. There were these guys that like in the first Gulf War found some old sea rations from like the 1940s and ate those things, and it was just it was brand new. Can you imagine the amount of salt and preservatives that have to go into those things to make it last that long?
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's crazy.
I should try to make those for dinner one night, like before Abby gets home. And like, I think if you put fresh cilantro on anything,
You would never know.
I mean, it would look like some 5-course meal.
I actually did. Hannah had a craving once for the chicken Alfredo, and we don't keep that stuff in stock. And I was like, I got you covered.
Yeah.
So I went down there. This is shortly after we got back from Montana. I was telling her how good those meals actually were. And I made that one for her, and she was like, do they sell that in bulk?
I think they do. You know what?
But
So
you can't get individuals. It has to come as like a mountain group. And so it's like 6 or 7 different meals you buy in a bucket.
I was going to say, I found out a couple weeks ago, if you are an Elite Onyx member, I didn't know about this, the Elite deals or whatever, they have a partnership, I think, with Peak Refuel where you can go on and get discounts for those meals.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you an elite member?
I am.
Me
I am.
Just for that purpose. Just so you can get those meals.
Yeah, but there's like 100 different companies that you get deals through. Like Lone Wolf's on there.
Really?
And there's all kinds of stuff.
I didn't even know.
I'm
that.
picturing Easton sitting at his desk at work, and it's lunchtime, and everyone else is like, where are we going to go to eat? And here he is whipping out his jet fuel,
Yeah.
jet boil.
That'd be
He's
awesome.
like cranking it up.
Yeah.
Mixing this freeze-dried meal for lunch in his office.
Wait, is an elite member just the all the states, the whole
Yes.
country? Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think I pay like $100 a
$100.
year.
Yeah, $100 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Made with Meat or the meat processing company, they're on there. Like Hunt Reminder, that was the one I got into this week where you can sign up for all the draw dates for different states. So I went through 5 different states.
Is that similar to Go Hunt, the Go Hunt app?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
think
Basically, I'll
they
get a
have the
text
same.
and an email when the draw period opens to apply, and then 5 days or 7 days before it closes, and then like 24 hours before it closes, so I can apply.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Oh, what else? Anything else going on? We've been talking about outfitters here the last couple of days. I don't know if we want to get into that or not, but I don't want to complain again. But
We haven't complained yet.
Yeah,
It's been 10
that's true.
minutes.
That's true. True. So let's do it. We got some outfitters around us, as probably most people do in most states. There's outfitters everywhere anymore.
Yeah.
But I always thought that like an outfitter like is just taking like giants. Like
High
you go
grading.
high grading. You go to an outfitter, you kill giants. It's like they're just whacking like whatever.
This is kind of one of those first scenarios I've seen where outfitters are shooting like 120s.
Yeah.
Which is just not what I think of. Not to say it's right or wrong. Like, dude, I don't care if you kill a 120, but
It goes back to that idea of like, if there's a 140 last year, you kill it, and then if the best is the 120, you kill it,
right.
until it's.
But the
100
problem,
incher.
the outfitters have the pull to, okay, there's no longer, even a 120 on this property next year because we killed 5 of them last year. We just pull out and take that money and put it elsewhere on a different property.
Do you think they post trail cam pictures of deer on social media? And then people hit them up and say, "Hey,
I bet it's on
can
their
I come,
on
can I
their
come hunt
website.
that?" Well, no, the one that I'm thinking of posted a picture of a giant, and then somebody killed it like 2 days later. I'm like, was that already planned? Was that guy already coming here? Did he set that up, last year, or was this guy like, "Hey, is anybody hunting with you? No, $2,000, come hunt this deer." Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if this late in the season,
Yeah.
a small outfitter, like this isn't one of those big ones.
Right.
This is a pretty small one. So like, wouldn't surprise me if they hadn't booked out through the end of the season and they had one show up and it's like, hey, he's up for grabs.
When we say small outfitter too, you're talking about an outfitter that probably hunts in 3 total counties. And
I don't even know if that.
how many bucks did they take this season? Just like at least a couple dozen.
Yeah.
At least a few we had on camera.
Yeah, right.
Is that why you're complaining?
No. I don't know. It's another interesting topic that, you get these, I don't know, guys leasing up all this ground and taking I didn't realize how big of a problem access was until I listened to Skip. I would love to talk to him. And it just makes sense based on our track record of like hunting permission from what we had 10, 20 years ago to now. And it's like,
we used to have
that is a problem.
We used to have more properties than we knew how to hunt.
Sole permission properties. Now you can. Good luck finding somewhere.
How many properties have you went to ask for permission that this particular outfitter
is on?
Is already
it's
on.
Happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Dating back 8 years ago, probably or more.
Yeah. And I think the reason we're honing in on some of these smaller problems now that we've kind of looked over in the past is because there's so many different dynamics contributing to the decline in hunting quality that now we're starting to dive deeper and kind of into the fine details of nitpicking what it is. And
because you have to. It's not as simple as, well, there are less hunters, and so we need to recruit more. That is a surface level glossing of, and it doesn't even really address the problem that's going on, because I think that's someone without analytics to back up their viewpoint, making a broad statement, painting with a broad brush, trying to understand something. And a lot of times it comes from the agencies that want to recruit more hunters because it's going to make them more money.
Yeah.
I just always thought
the nitty-gritty details is where you're going to find the specific reasons why there are problems and issues that we're facing as hunters.
I just always thought too, with outfitters, they had some sort of like management plan, and I'm sure. I mean, the good ones do, I'm sure. But like, this just seems like throw as big of a corn pile out as you possibly can and collect as much money as you can.
Yeah.
And if you decimate the buck herd on that property, then the next year you just go take them somewhere else.
But think about this too. So like, the first experience we really ever had with an outfitter was when we went bear hunting in Canada, and like that outfitter had to at the time petition with the state for the amount of acres that he hunted on, owned or leased or whatever, in order to get his outfitting business allocated a certain number of tags. But that's not how it works here, because any out-of-state guy can buy an out-of-state hunting license in Ohio. As far as I understand, that's what happens. I want to hunt in Ohio. I'm going to buy my non-resident tag. There's no draw system, and then I'm going to pay an outfitter to go and make sure that I have the best odds.
Yeah,
so it's not like the outfitters aren't contributing to the management practice of the broader state agency at all.
Yeah. There's so many different things that play into just the outfitter topic too, because it's like, okay, now you're talking about non-resident hunters. That's its own issue.
Yeah.
There's no way to govern that or control that. It's just if you buy a tag, you're good to go. And then you
at least in a state like ours where there's no draw.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, and then cell cams, like the hunter dudes talk about it quite a bit, is cell cams allow not just outfitters, but us too, or guys that lease, to monitor exponentially more amount of ground than they ever would have been able to before cell cams. So now these guys that lease out ground for, outfitters can put their 100 cell cams on, say 5,000 acres instead of 1,000 that they were able to monitor with just regular cameras.
Especially if you're going to use corn as bait, and you're not going to put bags of corn out, you're going to use a 50-gallon barrel feeder. And so now you've got corn there that you can leave sit and the deer can feed at for 3 months and have the cell cam there and never once have to go set foot on that property until you need to take someone to hunt there.
I always thought too with like the leasing aspect, like I feel like if I knocked on a door, because I knock on quite a few doors to get permission, and somebody's like, it's already being leased, I'd be like, oh, no worries, like, on to the next one. These guys must just be saying, oh, how much?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll double that or whatever,
Yep.
Like, no, I feel like there's like not a lot of respect there. It's kind of shady game.
Well, but they can, because of the way that it works here, at least, you're leasing 40 acres, 50 acres, 100 acres. I mean, you're hard pressed if you're going to find a property that's over 150 acres contiguous. True. And so they can just go and buy up all these small parcels in a given area, and maybe they end up with 600 acres in a certain square block of property, and now everyone that used to hunt there is kicked out of it. Yep. They got to go somewhere else, and that just makes access tough, like Skip said, like you just hit on.
You get guys from other states hunting your backyard instead.
You made a point about, I've always looked at outfitters as having a management plan, and I think like the state of Texas does it really well. Like their outfitters manage for like top quality deer.
But they're also managing thousands and thousands of acres.
Yeah, but here, if you think about it, like we're bordered by Indiana, which has pretty good deer quality, and Kentucky, decent deer quality. But the three that we see most of these hunters coming to outfitters for is Michigan, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia.
Yep.
Those are our other three borders, not quality deer hunting for big deer. And the people coming and shooting the 115-inch, 120-inch 3-year-olds
It's true.
are those states.
It's big to them.
That's
Which is okay, but
And they spent their money and they drove down here, and why wouldn't they walk away with a deer even if it's not a 180? You know? And so then that's ruining the age structure of our bucks.
But as residents of the state that want to see, 160-inch 5-year-olds, that's not good to manage it the same exact way that the states that we're saying have crappy deer hunting manage.
yeah. I don't want to get the violin out, but I was tallying up the other day just the property that we're talking about that's surrounded by this outfitter. Just this season, there was, I believe, 12 bucks shot that are probably between 120 and 160, one of which wasn't recovered and I think ended up living. So we'll call it 11, though, confirmed casualties. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That to me is just like, how does that replace itself? It probably does and will, and bucks move in and, fill that vacancy or whatever, but that's crazy.
Yeah, but you gotta imagine it's going to replace itself with deer hunting quality like Pennsylvania has, where they now have to implement antler restrictions because all they have are 1.5-year-old bucks.
And those weren't all from the outfitter. Those are, other just guys that, but either bordering or on that property. That's pretty crazy.
The other thing that blows my mind about the way that outfitters, they have sole control over their prices, and so if they want to take on more hunters to earn a larger income and they know they need to lease ground, they have complete control over the price manipulation to raise their outfitting fees so that they can have enough money to lease that extra ground and to be able to bring in all those extra hunters. And I just don't see it's not sustainable.
There's no limit to their growth. I mean, if they're good business people and they understand what their costs are and their revenues are, there's no limit to their growth. And what it all goes back to, I don't care about leasing. The problem isn't leasing. The problem isn't crossbows. The problem isn't corn piles or cell cams. The problem is the quality of hunting is taking a crap.
And all of those things are contributing factors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to address the issues.
Yeah.
Right. Their corn bill must be through the roof.
Yeah. They just raised the prices to get more corn.
Yeah. I know TSC isn't the best place to buy corn probably, but I did buy corn the other day. I bought 200 pounds. I think it was $50. Does that sound right? I think it was.
Yeah, it's $11 a bag.
Yeah.
You're gonna buy 4 or 5 bags.
Crazy. It wasn't that long ago. It's $6-7 bucks. Yeah.
$6 a 50-pound bag.
Yeah, when we started buying corn to put over cameras in the summertime, it was $4.99 a bag. It's $4.99 a bag, and you could go to your local mill and you could get it even cheaper than that.
Yeah.
And now the local mill is like, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Way more than it used to be.
Crazy.
Everything is, but
Sure.
still.
Which maybe that's a good transition into cornfields and the project that we have coming up.
Yeah.
Open up a little bit bigger food source.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. We're hoping to. We got some plans for a couple of our properties this off season. Hopefully sooner than later. We're going to try to get ahead of this with the colder weather, hoping that the ground stays frozen and we don't make an absolute mess. But yeah, our food plot has been brassicas for the last couple of years against my will this year. But we're going to make it a little bit bigger. I think there's like 8 like humongous mature pines we got to get out that are like in the plot, and then some more a little bit smaller on the outskirts just to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know.
These aren't your mature like white pine, like timber type pines necessarily either, because they're like Christmas tree pines. They're like firs and
some of those are white pine. We had that guy come look at them. A lot of those are white pine. But yeah, there is some of was it spruce, I think?
yeah, something like that. Blue spruce.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. That's exciting. We like doing that stuff. Honestly, the older I get, I think I like that maybe even a little bit more. Just being able to see how that translates over into your season and how the deer, benefit from it. So
What's the size of the total food available now? Do you know?
now?
Like a quarter of an acre?
I can tell
It
you.
can't be a half an acre.
It's not.
It's not.
I've probably spent more time looking at and
Sure you
measuring
have
your
than me.
food plots
I've
than I
gotten
have.
Snapchats from Easton over the last month of this property anywhere from like 1940 to like 1970 and what it used to look like. That's pretty dang cool.
It's
Actually,
sweet.
that one you sent, was it 2007?
Yeah.
It looked like Iowa.
Yeah, it
That was
looked
sick, which is crazy because like we're driving past it every day to school. Like, I don't remember ever looking back there. Pretty wild.
Yeah, I have a
Kinda
way
cool.
you can overlay like a current day aerial with, whatever date there was an aerial image available, and you can overlay them, and then there's a slider that you can basically they overlap, and you can use that slider to, do the transparency and look at the comparison.
I got 0.52 acres on Onyx, but that's with like straight lines, so it's probably a little less.
So call it
but-
like a third of an acre.
We could,
Total.
we could make it quite a bit bigger. And hopefully, I think the cool part about that is if we plant the food and it doesn't do what we want it to do from like a bedding to food standpoint, because it's kind of like all the big ag, you know what I mean, is the opposite direction.
It's out of the
And
way
bedding,
for them to get to. Yeah.
Right, it's out of the way. So I thought, worst case scenario, we end up turning that into like a switchgrass field or something like that, some sort of, or even just let it grow up. I don't know, and turn that into bedding, and then we hope to get the woods very selectively cut. I don't want to rape the timber at all, but eventually here in the near future, so that'll change some things too. But
I'd be interested to see what acreage of like a soybean or a corn crop would do well, like how small you could go. Because I can tell you right now, like down south, it's got to be like 5+ acres to not get hammered before season.
up here though, with those big ag fields,
There's food
a couple
everywhere.
100 yards away.
That's what I'm
I bet
thinking.
I bet
Couple
it'd be all right.
acres?
And I wouldn't be opposed to investing in an electric fence just to preserve it. Open
Yeah.
it up
Yeah.
1st of October. But
Our biggest issue was going to be coons.
yeah, I would plant beans. I would try to plant beans back there. I don't know how they would do with.
The soil.
I don't know. We'll just have to see. And I don't know for sure what equipment we need back there too. First things first is just some saws, just to start cutting stuff. But
Yes.
I know you looked into it a little.
The game plan is to try to go in and mark the trees that we want to take. That way we kind of have an idea of what we're getting into. And then with the colder weather and heavier equipment to not necessarily remove, but move those, trees and stumps and stuff off to the sides. We need the ground to be pretty well frozen because we'll probably have, I would assume, an excavator of some kind with a thumb to be able to cut those, logs up into
Pick them up and move them.
10-foot
manageable
sections
sections.
somewhere.
Yeah.
pick them up and stack them strategically
Yeah.
to, manipulate deer movement to come into and out of the food plot where we want them to.
I was wondering about this. Are we going to like limb the trees so we can take those and make brush piles for a habitat?
Probably.
I think we should.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're talking maybe 10 trees.
It's probably more than that. It's maybe
Hopefully.
15.
I hope
Yeah.
there's freaking 30.
I
Easton's
counted
got
at
a
one point in
trigger
time. I
finger.
think it was more than 10, at 12 to 15 probably.
Okay.
And then a lot of, brushy honeysuckle, small shrubs type stuff too.
Which
But
part of this is releasing those white oaks?
Yes.
That is an important thing to
Yep.
mention. Is there's a couple white oaks that have really been constricted by some of these pine trees that are kind of holding them back. So by taking out some of these pines, those white oaks will be able to grow and hopefully produce acorns. I
Yeah.
mean, they're probably over 10-year-old white oaks. So
I think
they're,
when I had that forester back here, I think he said between 10 and 15, I think.
I would, yeah,
So
guess.
probably by the time they start producing, I'll be dead for sure.
Well, I was thinking, 15 years for some
Yeah.
oaks is very doable to start
Yep.
producing acorns. So
But what if it's 15 years where they've been choked out?
that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is once you release them, I don't know what that change will do.
maybe
Yeah.
in the next 5 years.
Could be.
Be awesome.
Which would be
There's
sweet because then
actually-
you'd have the giant, well, not giant, but food plot.
And
And
then
then
oaks
right
right
on
there.
the edge, you'd have oaks
Yeah.
producing acorns.
There's
ideally.
more in there than you think too. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do back there. So we were actually going to start on it last weekend, and then I was a little bit under the weather, and it was also like negative 10 with the wind chill or something.
like the
So-
Arctic.
Well, the 40
Yeah,
mile an hour winds
big
for cutting
winds.
trees is not
No.
safe.
It kind of reminded me of when we when a tattle on us when we did our prescribed burn under maybe not the most conducive conditions.
I think about that often and how I don't know if that's a felony, but like how quickly I could have maybe become a felon or something. I don't know what the charge would be.
We
but
did great. I just want to say it was flawless, but probably shouldn't have burned.
No, because there
Are you-
was like actual field fires that day.
Yeah.
Like not intentional. And here we are just
We're learning.
lighting up the
match.
fire.
We're learning. We took all the precautions. Nice big fire break. We had water back there. We had our leaf blowers. We had but not the smartest thing we've done. But we're learning. We won't do that in the future.
Is that on the docket for this year too?
Yes, I really would like to do that this year. It's corn in that neighboring field, and that always holds the turkeys, and having a burn right there too would be good.
I would
Now,
love to do that at our place too. Burn that whole river bottom.
Yeah.
Whole creek bottom.
I don't think that was a coincidence last year. They lived in that woods all spring.
We burn a significantly larger section
Yeah.
than we had in years past, and they lived in there.
Yeah.
Which was so cool.
Yeah.
To see them respond directly to a change that you made.
Exactly. And it's also fun walking back there and smelling that every day.
Fast fruits.
Yeah.
Fruits of your labor.
Just expose,
fast.
the bugs and
Just native browse too. There's so much stuff that hides
there
underneath
was
all those
acorns that were
leaves.
cooked under there,
Yeah.
it's probably delicious.
I can't imagine how much better the burn would have went overall if we would have had fire like shirts.
We got to get those this year. With our name
like the
tags on
neon
them.
ones.
The yellow ones.
Yeah, the yellow ones is what I'm
They're
picturing.
safety shirts.
We need
Yeah.
a fire SWAT too,
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Those. I found one of those on a piece of public that I was hunting at one point, but
Didn't want to steal it.
I wasn't going to steal it.
No.
No, I left it.
Good man.
Yep.
Good man. So yeah, that's trying to think what else there. The main focus is on that plot. We've planted it for
It's been a long time that we've planted it.
7-8 years, I think.
Did
At
we
best.
clear that in 17 or what did it?
It was earlier than that.
16, I think.
Was it 16?
Maybe. Well,
I
no,
think it was earlier than that.
no, because no.
When
But
did you
that-
buy it?
16.
It's
So it
cool
would've
to
been
see the
17.
growth because originally
Yeah.
it was just this tiny little Monoflora rose thicket
Yeah.
that was just itty bitty. You
was
guys cleared
nasty.
that and planted that in clover, and that did extremely well.
Yeah.
They loved the clover, and then eventually we kind of expanded through a little section where there was some pines intermixed, and there was another little thicket that was very easily opened up,
Yep.
and then it kind of became what it is today.
Yep.
And now we're talking about really
Yeah.
opening it into more
An actual plot, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because that was like that grass that we cleared and put the plot in was like overgrown pasture.
Yeah, it was.
And that's what like Don and a lot of these guys are like, keep it overgrown pastures.
That was dang thick, though.
It was
that
thick,
wasn't even
yeah.
like grassy.
I
That
can't-
was straight up
I
like
can't believe we didn't find a
impenetrable.
shed in it. Well, that's true. It was pretty thick, but
It was mostly multiflora rose with the grasses, and those multiflora rose bushes were like 6 feet high. It
Yeah,
was just nothing
yeah.
but thorns and briars.
Yep.
It was nasty.
yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm excited for that. We may have to look at doing that this Sunday.
We're gonna try to do like a weekend type project because you can get a deal with equipment rentals.
Yep.
So you're looking at like for people watching maybe like $800 for a weekend of
Yeah.
having the trailer, excavator, and then you'll probably want to look at a stump grinder.
Yep.
To get those stumps out.
Yeah, I was actually just looking at Zach's brother. His business. I thought about calling him just 'cause I like those guys and I think they do good work. So
They could probably rip through,
Yep.
10, 15 stumps pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah, definitely have to do that. So yeah, we're trying to get that done before, spring rolls around, everything gets soupy and wet and nasty and you're slopping around. It'd be better if the ground's a little bit hard to do all that work.
At least
So,
for the equipment, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 weeks from now it's supposed to be in the 50s again.
Yeah.
Not to say it's not going to get cold because
Sure.
it will, but yeah, I mean it can very easily change. And
Ground's frozen pretty solid right now.
Yeah.
0 degrees for several days in
Nick's
a row.
traps will tell you.
Yeah, I will. Bedding traps right now is a pain. But
Just digging the dirt hole, right?
it's impossible. Luckily, I already had all my trapped beds dug,
you
for
just
the
reset
season.
'em?
So, yeah, it's still tough, though. But, yeah, that's interesting. A lot of guys will take their drill and put like
an auger.
Auger bit.
on it and
Yeah.
just go to freaking town.
Yep.
But I have not done that. So, yeah, anything down at the farm?
I really have been trying to get down there to get some feed out. I'm pretty much done hunting. However, it's really cold, and I went to Rural King, not to give away my secrets, but at the end of the season, or kind of when the season's tapering off, everything goes 50% off, like all their deer stuff.
Gotta
so
get
I
those deals, man.
loaded up on minerals because I'm going to end up spending all that money times 2 over the summertime buying minerals that I got now, so I'm good.
Didn't you say that guy, the worker said, are you feeding the whole neighborhood?
Yeah. There's a few different workers that made jokes, but so I bought these. I'm trying to find a cheaper way to feed the deer because the corn is not sustainable for my pocketbook.
Oh, and it's not necessarily good for them because it's calories for cold weather, but it doesn't have antler growth potential built into it nutritionally.
And I know there's conversation about like whether, and I'm not in an area surrounded by a bunch of ag, so if you're feeding them something that they're not digestively set up for,
They're not used to, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's apparently some
Be like you
of,
going to eat Thai food or something for the first time.
yeah. So
Who, me?
Either one of you, yeah, me included.
I'd probably handle it better than Nick.
Down.
So
Weeks.
they have these big blocks that were 50% off that I'm trying to find something that they can feed on, but they go through a little bit slower because they just annihilate corn down there. I can put out 500 pounds and it'll be gone in a few days. So I'm trying to get down there to put those out. Of course, side benefit of that is hopefully finding sheds if I can keep them close.
I was gonna say another side benefit, but I don't want to give away your location.
Okay.
There's a specific restaurant we like to eat at.
Oh yeah, we like to stop at a particular diner and eat a particular dessert delicacy. But no, there's really no deer that I'm like dying to have their sheds from. There's a few, 2-year-olds or whatever, but we've gotten hammered by out-of-state non-residents leasing up ground around us, and they've been shooting the type of bucks that they would probably want to shoot back home, and that's put a hurt on us. There have been a couple mature ones taken as well, but
yeah.
we
love the big bucks.
It is amazing. Look, this is. I don't want to go back.
Oh no, we gotta say why I said that. There was that we were picking up.
We
were picking up fertilizer.
Yes, that sounds right. There's a local ag store that we were picking up fertilizer from.
And you heard somebody from out of state, right?
Yeah,
West Virginia.
This particular area of Ohio, for some reason, has like taken all the non-residents. Like they all go here, and maybe I'm just focusing on this particular area because it's close to one of the out-of-state states. I'm trying not to give away too much, but just flock there. So we were down there for food plot weekend, and we were picking up fertilizer. And there was 2 different groups, not together, of non-residents. They had their tractors on trailers and just goons. Not like
they're the Elmer Fuds of the hunting world.
Not like the dudes that you're like, you feel like you kind of relate to. And the one, he was a probably older gentleman, probably in his 60s, and he looks at the other guy that he didn't know, and he's like, "Man, I hate this stuff." Talking about the work that they were about to do all weekend. I mean, they were loaded down, ready to go.
That's enough to tell you like what type of people they are. Like we live for that stuff.
Yes, and this, keep in mind, this was after they sat there and basically compared meat sizes, to put it politically correctly, about who was planting more food plots. The one guy's like, "Well, I'm planting 15 food plots," which to me, you should be talking about acreage, not number of food plots, because I can plant 15 1/10 acre food plots.
I plant 15 this big.
That's what I mean. So I was like, okay, maybe talk acreage. So they're, comparing that. And then the guy's like, "Man, I hate this stuff, but I sure do love the big bucks." And then just proceeds to just hysterically laugh. And it was really, really cringy.
Okay, time to go.
Yeah.
Don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. So we peeled out of there.
So I forget what I was even going to talk about. It had something to do with outfitters.
I have no idea.
You talking about feeding? I heard Skip say the other day he was talking about like combating EHD with feed, and he was talking a bunch about garlic. And I was like,
Never heard that.
yeah, like actual garlic from the store.
So like
to combat EHD.
When we get sick at home, like you go and buy like an actual head of garlic, and you can peel individual cloves out of it. Like one of the best things you could do when you're sick is just take one of those cloves and dice it up real small, put a spoonful of honey on it, and just straight down the gullet.
Scientifically, what is that?
Garlic is supposed to be very good as like a anti-inflammatory agent. It's supposed to be really good antioxidant. Something about the spice in it is supposed to be really good at helping your immune system.
He said, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but him and his immediate neighbors they're on like a plan together. They're all kind of under the same understanding of what they're going to do, how they're going to manage or whatever, and they supplement with garlic. I forget. I think he even maybe talked about how much or when they do it or what they mix it with. There's a certain way to do it, and he said when their outskirt neighbors get just hammered by EHD, they don't see it.
Huh.
And
That'd be
super
worth.
interesting. There was one other thing too. It was garlic, and there's something else they do. And
I wonder if it's because the mites, don't like the smell of garlic. Like if you go to eat a authentic Italian meal and it's got a bunch of garlic in it, the next day you'll smell like that.
He's talking about ivermectin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that. The dewormer. Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those two things. And he talked highly of analogics.
Okay.
Their feed.
I know the humic acid's a big one with CWD. They're saying that is supposed to combat CWD.
Yeah. I just found that I'd never heard of that.
Huh.
You know, like he was just basically saying how, you know, a lot of people just think like you just got to let it run its course, and you don't.
But
you don't have to.
But to your point, you're talking about a feed pile, and it keeps the midge gnats away.
No, I'm talking about like if I eat garlic the next day, I will smell like garlic.
Sure.
My sweat smells like it. Probably it's in your blood, and that's probably something that the insects that carry the EHD transmittable virus don't like, and so they're not going to be around you.
That would debunk what I was about to say. Is if it's strictly around the bait pile, okay, but what about the dried up water hole 500 yards away? That would make sense.
We actually, with our chickens, we give them garlic powder as part of their feed.
Is that for flavor when you eat them?
It's supposed to help keep them healthy. I don't know. We haven't eaten any of our own chickens yet. Okay. Their eggs are good.
That's interesting.
We need a little guy that we could say, hey, look this up.
Yeah.
Al.
Yeah.
Who's Joe Rogan's guy?
Is it Jeremy?
I'm not
Jared?
sure.
Something like
maybe.
that.
I'm trying to look here. Minerals with many micronutrients, garlic, etc. help with blood flow and ability to cool down. Critical for EHD and health and even in antlers. Repels midges and biting critters like flies or even ticks. Oh, yeah, he talked about ticks, too. Yeah. Just go to the store and buy like 200 pounds of garlic.
I half wonder, because Hannah cooks with garlic all the time, and I hardly ever get bit by mosquitoes, and I rarely ever find even a tick on my clothing, and I wonder if that's why. Because you guys get annihilated by those things.
I'm sold. I like
get
his stuff.
Hammered by ticks, but I also like garlic.
I'm sold. Like,
I'm just picturing like Salt Bay with like dried garlic out there on your corn pile.
Yeah,
that'd be worth
hurt.
it.
Yeah,
what $1? Well, I don't know. Does it have to be a certain,
Well, he's talking about. He wouldn't buy it like in a shaker. He's talking about like the
cloves,
garlic cloves that you would like have to peel and dice up. That's what he's talking about.
I can't remember now, but there was a certain way I think they mixed it so that they would eat it, or whatever. But
I wish there was a metric to measure that, like to prove it for a fact, because we get EHD where I'm at, or at least the past couple summers we have, but it's, how do I prove that this deer died from EHD versus something else, or it didn't die because I gave it garlic? I don't know. I don't know how you measure that.
I don't either.
You'd have to have. It would have to be some sort of
years, I guess, of just
study
of hearing that your neighbors found the bunch and you didn't, maybe. But it's, I don't know how much ground they have or whatever. It's like you wouldn't be able to, I feel like, impact enough
unless
on a small
you had
parcel.
A couple thousand acres,
right?
Well, if it's him and his neighbors, you might be talking about 500, 600 acres.
He posted last night that they killed 250 coyotes last year on his property, so he must have a ton of ground.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
But he's a big time dude.
Yeah. So, anywho, thought that was super interesting, and you reminded me of it when you were talking about all your minerals and feed and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, but
where are you going to store all that stuff?
What? You mean, where is he storing all this stuff?
I was going to say,
he's already got it.
It's in my garage where we do not park cars.
It's in our bedroom.
Actually, you know what? It's not. It's in Abby's car right now, because I was going to drive it down last weekend, and then I basically was going to go after church, and by the time church got out, we went to lunch with some friends that came to church with us, and then by the time that was over, I just decided I didn't have enough daylight to make a 2-hour drive.
I was just curious, because you know those like hippie salt lamp things that people have? It's like a big Himalayan salt block that they put a light inside. We had one of those sitting in our basement, and the basement of our house gets moisture down there, and like there's a leach bed of salt from the condensation dripping off of that thing. It's like half the size that it used to be.
Huh.
We just never thought about it. So I wondered where you were going to store those things, because if it's a mineral block, that's probably a lot of salt. You want to keep it somewhere where it's not humid.
Yeah. I wonder about I bought a bunch of Lucky Buck too, because I had decent luck with that or whatever. That's in buckets. You would think
it's sealed.
Moisture's not penetrating that because I have those in the garage, which for sure has moisture.
Not other than what's in the bucket already, because all
Yeah.
that feed stuff has some moisture in it.
Yeah. And what's the deal with the deer cane? Because that's been, remember when we went back here and it smelled rancid.
Nasty.
And I've been a huge fan of deer cane in the past. And I know when they put all their stuff on sale at Rural King, like people were steering clear of it. So I don't know if you had, I thought you had a bad batch. But from what I'm hearing from other people, like apparently it just smells
bad.
funky now.
I don't even know what's in deer cane.
It used to
Obviously, it's
smell
supposed
like
to be sugary.
molasses, right? Or-
It was like a real sweet, like
Yeah.
smelled delicious, tasted salty because I taste it all.
nothing smells as good as Lucky Buck. That's delicious. That smells so dang good.
Smells like you want to put it in a bowl of cereal.
It's like
Pour some
no.
milk
I mean,
over
it's
it.
like pixie sticks or something. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff.
I don't think I've tasted it, but it smells awesome.
Yep.
It smells like it tastes delicious.
It's salty.
But yeah, that deer cane stuff was rancid.
I remember I was pouring it out and you were taking pictures and I was like,
What did you buy?
has this been sitting in your garage for like years? I'm like, no, I just bought it. Yeah.
It was on sale, so maybe it was sat in the store for a year. I don't know.
Interesting.
But
Yep.
yeah, I got some Lucky Buck back here too, but I didn't like the results that I got this summer. That one buck that you're editing the video of right now that I almost killed. He was like showing up every day, and then I put the Lucky Buck out, and I had like 10 days worth of pictures. I'm sure it was less than that, where you'd like come in, you could like see him in the distance, like looking, and he'd like never come in. I was like, what is up with this stuff?
he knows. He didn't want you to get lucky on
Yeah,
him.
and I did.
Yeah, he knew if he ate it, his antlers would get bigger or your money back.
yeah, no kidding. Oh shoot.
Bigger bucks, healthier deer.
No, they do offer a guarantee
Yeah.
on with Lucky Buck. It says
It's a little slip in there, right? Little piece of paper that says
with a number
Yeah.
to prove that you purchased it or whatever, and it says if you don't see results within some period of time, maybe or something.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then and it's like again, it's like the EHD garlic thing. It's like how do you prove that your deer's antlers didn't grow?
Well, that's just
or did
that's
or
a
didn't.
marketing technique because none of that stuff is regulated by anybody. They don't have to have a study. They can write whatever they want on those things. Just like we talked about this the other day, and there are probably a lot of people who might listen to this that still don't know. But like brassicas don't turn into sugar when it gets cold outside. Like they don't change at all. That's just a marketing myth that someone who wanted to sell brassica seeds for food plot planters came up with, wrote it on their thing, had someone do some random scientific study to prove it, even though it wasn't legitimate, and that's what we've dealt with for the last 15 years. It's like it's just all a marketing ploy to sell product.
I bought into that entirely.
Well, we did too. That's one of the reasons why we planted brassicas in the first place. Now we can't get rid of them.
Our whole life is a lie. All a lie. Oh, shoot.
You didn't even plant brassicas this year, and you still got brassicas.
I was trying to get that clover back.
They
It's the
plant
one thing they
themselves.
ate.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have such a good food plot; it plants itself.
Yeah, and they won't touch it. Although I have not been back there in over a month. They're probably just hammering it. They're
Yeah.
probably destroying it.
Which side benefit here is on the big rabbit hunt. I have a stop prepared
Yeah.
beverages in the food plot, and then this is generally where we'll stop. And
turn.
It's essentially like a skeet shoot where we just throw up brassicas every year and shoot them because the deer will not touch them.
And
Yeah.
some of them explode and some of them don't, but it's a blast.
We killed a rabbit right there too last year.
Yeah.
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 It's a good spot. Good
We
stop.
should put people up in the 360 blind and just like kind of do
Drive
like
for
a
the rabbits.
Well, I was thinking like roll the brassicas
Yeah.
across for like is that like a sporting clays
Yeah.
type
It's a good idea.
thing? Roll them across and have people shoot and stuff.
You got to make sure you have the 360 GoPros again. That was fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had it rolling with the first one here.
Yeah.
We got off to a hot start.
I was gonna say I think I ran just my regular GoPro on the barrel. Yeah, we'll
We
do
have
that
to lay
again.
some of that over this podcast maybe as we're talking about it.
I don't even know if I have that footage anymore. Because we didn't have any footage that had an actual rabbit kill in it.
That sucks.
You do, right? You sent me something.
I sent
recently.
you this kill right here.
Yeah.
And yeah, right when you shot it, and I don't know, because I thought I was like, there's gonna be one right here, and then
Yeah.
sure enough, you blast that thing right
Yeah.
there. Which did you ever take those pine trees, the Christmas trees out?
Oh yeah, they're back there.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Soaking.
Yeah, I walked past them yesterday. Actually, I thought about giving them just a little test
Nudge.
kick, but I don't want to disturb
Yeah,
them.
you don't want
Yeah.
to spook them.
Where did I see? Where did I see a bunch of rabbit tracks today? Checking traps somewhere. the property by the airport. There was rabbit tracks everywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
Can we go hunt it?
oh, I'm sure he'd let us. Yeah, I'm sure
Call
he would
him.
let us. Yeah.
Call him.
What?
Call him.
Was that from something?
No, I'm saying call him so we have another place to go.
I need
Shoot him a
options
text, yeah.
because usually we'll hit this and then we'll kind of brush back over what we've already hit.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't kill one that we saw or something, and then go hit a different place, and then we're pretty much out of luck for the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a one and done spot.
Yeah.
You hunt it, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Which we're all right with letting a few live.
Oh yeah.
Just to replenish the herd.
Some are coyote bait because there's
Yeah.
enough of those around here to take care of the rabbit population for sure.
There's 10 less. It's good. And counting. Oh man. Should we wrap things up?
Yeah.
Somebody I put a poll or a question up on Instagram today and said, is there any questions that people would like us to talk about? We didn't get a whole lot of responses, but somebody, Evan, shout out to Evan, he said you guys should state who your favorite non-influencer in the hunting industry is. So like you said underground, right?
I'm thinking like underground hunters, and maybe not even necessarily like that they don't ever appear on like a YouTube show or something, but like not your Lee Lakosky, Michael
Right,
Waddell's
sure.
type people. I was trying to think about that. Did you have anybody that came to mind right away?
A couple guys, but I wouldn't say they're like, like follow their stuff religiously or whatever. Like I think Jake Bush is a killer. He's a humble dude, seems like a nice guy, like somebody that I would be like, a good advocate for our sport. That's to me like who I would want to put in that spotlight. But I'd have to really sit and think.
I think I would too, because I don't like you said, like I don't idolize anybody that I follow where I'm like, that dude is a killer. There are killers out there. There's guys that aren't super well known for it, but nobody that I'm like.
It'd have to be. It'd probably be somebody that's like not even out there. You know what I mean?
Well, and how would you know about them? That was my
Exactly.
point. There's a lot of people out there that put out hunting content that we follow and interact with they're not bought and paid for by somebody, but everybody and their brother posts hunting stuff on the internet now. So that'd be hard to, what do you mean by influencer?
Yeah. Well, that's why you said, maybe it's just somebody that's not, like promoting themselves, just like consistently, gets it done year in and year out and does it the right way or whatever. So maybe we'll revisit that on a later podcast, because I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I got to think about that one.
Yeah. For me, it's got to be somebody that's just like not a big like chest out ego, inches of antler, whatever. Just somebody that knows how to hunt, is a woodsman, does it the right way, and doesn't use drones.
Had to get that in there.
I
Huh?
had to. Yep.
We've steered clear thus far.
I was gonna say too. I sent my email to.
Yes.
I didn't get a response. You said you did. Right?
Yeah. So to follow back on an earlier Instagram post, I kind of went through the Ohio Wildlife Council, and they're kind of seeking out the public's opinion about really anything. They're not just tasked with talking about drones or whatever, but I mean bait, cell cams, corn, crossbows at non-residents, whatever, you name it. And so I typed up, it ended up being 6 pages because I get really long-winded, and I didn't just stick to one issue. I kind of tried to vaguely brush over everything. Sent that over, and I did get a response that it was being passed along to the appropriate parties.
You sent it to the Wildlife Council, right?
Correct.
Okay, I
Email.
Did too. Yeah, I did too.
Yes.
I didn't hear anything back, which is fine. I'm sure they're busy and got bigger fish to fry, maybe. But
Yeah.
we both sent letters, so we encourage you guys to as well. Doesn't again have to be about drones, but any of these issues, because there's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. It's crazy till you really start to dive into this. For a long time you just being young, naive, just worried about other things or whatever, and now it's like when you really dive in and look at some of this stuff and how the lobbyists play into things, and it's corrupt, it's backwards, it's not good. The direction we're heading is not good. I mean, I hate to keep bringing up Skip, but I really like his stuff, and I think he's a good dude to the core, and I think he's got his heart in the right place. He straight up said, he was like, the way that this is heading is going to ruin hunting forever.
Well, yeah, it won't even really be a thing. It'll be, he mentions all the time, the European style of hunting, where it's the rich that get to do it.
Like,
and
if you care about this, that should send shivers down your spine.
And
Like,
the way
that
you-
is terrifying.
The way you know that he's a good dude and that he's actually like he cares enough as an advocate to do things about it is that he's like in the Iowa courthouse, like at the state capitol.
I was
doing
going to
this
say
stuff.
the Iowa thing was a big deal this week specifically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that one initiative or whatever that they had started,
And that was what, with outfitters and non-residents?
and how they allocate tags.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that was kind of a big deal. Well, that's the thing too is, 10 years ago, why didn't we concern ourselves with it? Well, for me, it was because I was, 15 years old or 16 years old or whatever.
Just like, why weren't we buying land when we were in third grade?
Right,
When we
yeah.
should have been.
But also that I was still able to have a good hunt, or felt like I was still
Yeah.
able to have a good hunt. So it's like, why am I going to go out of my way to concern myself with, of course, drones and cell cams weren't a thing then, really, but corn piles, non-residents, those types of things, is because, quite frankly, I'm able to do my thing and have a good time and usually kill a deer, at least see deer, and have a quality hunt.
But that's when 10 years ago, that's when a lot of those outfitters are really getting started. And I think the outfitters are what really made the corn piles blow up, because they all did it because their clients wanted to shoot bucks. And so then if you're a neighboring property, you've got to do it to compete. And that just made everything get blown way out of proportion.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're concerning ourselves with it because it is affecting our experience.
And
so
10
we
years-
kind of have to.
10 years from now, it's probably going to be something different. Lord willing, we're still able to hunt in 10 years, but
Yeah.
we'll see where that goes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very, very concerning. So we encourage you guys to, maybe voice your opinions. If you have questions about that, whatever, feel free to shoot us a message, drop
Yeah.
a comment. We'd love to help you out in that regard, that realm. I would really like to make it, again, don't think it'd probably do much or accomplish much, but that meeting in March, I would love to sit in on that, and I would gladly stand up and speak on all of our behalf. But I can't remember the exact date when she gave me that, but to tie some of the things we've talked about in together, and then we can wrap it up. That lady I spoke with, she told me not to go to drones again, but she told me the biggest issue they're having with drones is with outfitters, and it's probably because they're
It's financially driven
kill at all costs. I got to
Yeah.
get my client a deer,
to put money in my
whatever.
pocket.
Right?
And they have enough money that they can be their own drone service. They don't have to hire somebody else. And so then it's all
Probably.
kept right in-house, wrapped up under an umbrella.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it because they're not selling it. It's just for their clients.
I have an
and-
outfitter and a recovery business. You come pay me $2,000 to shoot my deer, and then another $500 to find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. So they've obviously gotten calls about that. But yeah, I don't know. Got some problems to address for sure. But such is life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say if there's any topics in the future that anybody has that they'd like to hear about that we think might fit for a good episode, shoot it in the comments, and we'll try to do it.
that would be awesome. Yeah, and we hope to get some guests either in house or virtually here soon too, as we're progressing through this. But today just wanted to kind of spitball and just talk about what's going on, what's coming up here. So we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you on the next one.